Well, I'm going to suggest we might as well just get started, and if people join on, they join on. Well, thank you again for hooking up to our Wednesday get-together. Today we're going to cover off a whole bunch of numbers. Some really interesting numbers that I've been able to put together, and some interesting numbers from a recent survey that was done. But just before we do that, just to let everybody know, as of Monday, this coming Monday, office hours at head office are all going back to normal. 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Sam and Angie will be here. I'll be here. Office will be open. Just asked if you're coming into the building, because we have dentists and orthodontists in the building, they have posted, the property management is highly recommending wearing a mask to travel the elevator. Okay, so if you are coming in, you could actually, if you happen to have awards that are still sitting on this table that we have back here, then come in and get your awards, but do, if you can, just wear a mask so just go in and out of the building. They requested that. And then also congratulations to some of you. I see that you completed the DMX course. I'm getting some emails from International saying those certificates are going out to some of you that completed all the new courses for the DMX certificate. So congrats to you there. And then did anybody go through the OREA email that you would have got just recently? Okay. So OREA sent out a 65-page survey that they did that was conducted in the middle of May. And it was for consumers from all over Ontario. And so I'm just going to cover off some of the points, but when I email out the recording, I'm actually going to attach the actual link to the OREA survey. So, but it would be interesting for you to go through it, because it's something I think you could use with your buyers or sellers. But some interesting points is when they started going through and asking them the intended time for somebody that is looking at, who has indicated that within the next 2 years, they are going to be looking at selling their current home. Here's what information they got. And keep in mind, this was done in the middle of May, okay? So in the next few months, even if the pandemic is still going on, 11% of them said they would put their houses for sale. So even with the pandemic, 11% of the marketplace that are looking at selling over the next 2 years, all different age groups, said that they would definitely just put their places up. And I know I've had clients of mine that send out emails saying, you know what, this looks like it's going to be here for a bit, so let's go ahead. And one of my clients put his house up for sale the end of May, and we did sell it conditionally just on Sunday. So we'll wait for those conditions to be removed. But there's an indicator where he was one of those 11% that just said, you know what, if it's still here, then that's okay. We'll work around it, work through it. But I still think it's the right time to sell and move to buy something else. But as soon as the pandemic is over, 28% said that they would put their houses on the market. So now, depending on where you are in Ontario, is really depending on which stage you're in. So certain part, and they do break it down a fair bit. So when you do go through it, they've got the percentages for Central Ontario, Eastern Ontario, Golden Horseshoe, Southwest. They've got it broken right down into age groups, genders as well. And then 61% of the group that was surveyed who definitely said they would be looking at selling over the next 2 years. 61% had no specific time. Okay, so what I get out of those numbers ties back into where the concern of having a flood of listings coming onto the market to get to the point where we would have a higher supply of listings than we would have buyers. Based on this survey,
not gonna happen.
I don't see it. I don't see it. I see you're going to get people that are, yeah, we're going to put it on. I've got another call from one of my clients just yesterday, an email. I was communicating with them in February about doing something. And then this happened. They just emailed me yesterday and said, hey, could you come by the first week of July just to tell us what we need to do to sort of get it ready for, you know, we're looking at doing something maybe August, September to get it ready to sell, to put it up on the market. And is anybody else getting that kind of communication from any of your consumers and clients?
I have 5 years of electronic newsletters and corresponding for about a year about selling, and now he's ready to do it. So I'll meet them next week as well.
Yeah, and so it gets back to, you know, basically what, you know, the Realty Executives course was telling us. You've got to be in touch with your people, no matter how you're doing it electronically, handwritten notes, pop-bys, whatever, because in this kind of environment, you don't know, like from one day to the next, what they're going to be doing. But, you know, with this survey showing, you know, the intention of the timing of them to list, I really don't see how, you know, CMHC predicted that great, you know, that sudden drop in pricing. I don't see it. Not based on, you know, if all of a sudden it was the 61% that said they're looking at putting their houses up for sale when the pandemic was over, then I'd say, okay, we got a concern. But when you have 11% that said, yeah, I'm going to do it anyways, and you've got 28% that says, yes, I'm going to do it. But this is all over Ontario, right? So again, getting back to, depending on where you are in Ontario, the different stages. But I've talked with, you know, our brokerages throughout Ontario, and they're all saying the same thing. They have buyers that want to buy, and they have a shortage of listings right now. So that part was, I thought was interesting. And then the other part of the survey is intended timing to purchase a home. So based on this, in the next few months, even if the pandemic is still going on, 5% of the buyers that were surveyed said that they would just go out and buy anyways. Okay, so if the pandemic is still going on, 5% intended to purchase a home, and 11% intended on putting it on the market. Okay, not a big difference. As soon as the pandemic is over, 21% of the buyers surveyed. Now, these are people that actually said within the next 2 years, we're looking at buying something. These aren't people that were surveyed saying we have no intention. This is all within the next 24 months. 21% of them said as soon as the pandemic is over, they would look at buying. And then you have 28% of the people they surveyed about selling saying as soon as it's over. So you only have a difference of 7%. Our market right now could easily absorb a 7% increase over and above the number of buyers we have, without a doubt. So again, I see more going to a balanced marketplace versus anything to do with decreasing in pricing. Now, this is the one that was kind of interesting, is they asked the consumers a change in house prices after the pandemic. And 7%, they believe that after the pandemic, the increases are going to increase a lot. Okay, 7%. 27% say they believe that 27% of them believe it's going to increase somewhat. Not go crazy, but increase somewhat. 19% it's going to stay the same. Okay? So realistically, what you're looking at is you've got, you know, majority of them, so just over half believe it's either going to stay the same or go up of the consumers in pricing. And then they have 34% that says it should decrease somewhat. And then 6% said, oh, no, it's definitely going to drop a lot. But what I get out of this is when the majority of the people feel that it's at least going to stay the same, the confidence in the marketplace is still there for buying and selling. And until you have that confidence in the marketplace pulling back, and then an increase in listings, you're not going to get a price pullback. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Now, one other stat that they've got in here, which I really thought was important, is based on everybody that has been surveyed and who is thinking about selling their house, the question was, have you refinanced your home or used home equity line of credit during COVID-19? Because one of the concerns is that people with a home are going to have to sell it because they could not afford it anymore. That's where they were saying that they expect that all this flood of people coming on, there'll be car sales, people can't afford. Well, based on this survey, all throughout Ontario, 11% of the people that currently have a home, 11% of them did go get or use part of their home equity or a line of credit during COVID. That means 89% of the people have not touched anything in their house in the sense of having to refinance or look at doing something with home equity to be able to survive, which means that based on 11%, again, I don't see a flood of power of sales or people in trouble looking at having to dump their houses. So, and that again, when I look at the stats, the numbers, that's really an interesting, an interesting part, because that was the fear. The fear was that everybody would be, the first thing, if somebody can't afford their house, the first thing they're going to try and do is refinance it. Or the second thing they're going to try and do is get a line of credit to pay their bills, to be able to keep above water. When you only have 11% of the people that are doing that, I still don't see a huge influx of, let's call it, stress sales happening. So again, I don't see a price decrease anywhere. I certainly see a leveling off, but I don't see a price decrease. Now, the last one that was kind of interesting is the question was importance of using a realtor if homes can only be viewed virtually. There's this talk of, would you buy a house virtually? Well, ironically enough, part of the survey that was a question is 10% of the consumers said absolutely they would be okay buying a house virtually, but they would only do it, majority of them said they would only do it, 85% of them said they would only do it with a realtor. And of the age group that said they would do that, what do you guys think?
30 to 40.
Bang on, 35 years or under are the ones that said they would have no problem doing that. Mm-hmm. So basically, I found that kind of interesting. So even if this world goes to virtual buying, majority of the people would still want the realtor involved, and more so because of the concerns. But then you become their eyes, their ears, their information. So based on that, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff, but just sort of wanted to highlight just some of the things that they did with this survey. And this, as I say, survey was done, I think, between the 15th and 22nd of May. So really recent, different aspects, different age groups, all across Ontario. So, the whole part of it that I see is that even when the pandemic is over and there's a bit of an increase, I still see it's going to be a good, strong, balanced marketplace. You got to be working. You've got to be, but decisions are going to be made and people are going to buy and sell. So on that note, before I get to the other stats I want to share with you, what are you guys finding out there since last week?
Well, I don't find that anything's really changed downtown. It's just been consistently busy, just longer to get anything done. I know I sold a place in the East End and bought one for the clients, and I do know that prices out there have tipped up since they bought 3 weeks ago. So I'm seeing that in real time for sure.
Yeah.
Like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, semi, I would say is 50, 60, 70%, $70,000 more. It's just, they're usually listing just over $1 million. And they're going for the ones. The 4-bedroom ones are flying off the shelves in a couple days. Preemptives are happening. Finding a condo's a bit slow. I had that one in Liberty Village. I didn't get a lot of interest in it. I don't know what's going on in Liberty Village. I think there's just too much construction, but I'm seeing some of the condos stay on the market a little bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to give you a little bit of feedback, that condo I had in Burlington, listed at $449,900, and then the highest sale in that building was basically in beginning of April, was the same model, $422,500. In February, they were similar stuff, was $450-ish. One sold for a building across the street. One was listed for $455, reduced to $444, and then sold for $458. One that was really done up, sold listed at $469,900, sold for $470. The one that I have, I said to the guy, if you can get $415, maybe $420, $422, and because his is, it was okay, needed some updating, but basically the balcony was right on Walker's line, so it did the protection. And it was interesting, we had 3 offers between $415 and $422,500, and one came in at $425. Told all of them no, we're closer to our pricing, and gave them the reasons why. And they came back and said, well, you know, the other buildings. Well, interesting enough, we've sold conditionally, but we've sold from just under the $440. So gives you an idea where if you sort of look at, if you've got sellers that can sort of say, you know what, realistically, this is sort of where we're at, this is where we want to be. They're buyers I'm seeing. Now, I also know the situation where there was a semi in South Etobicoke listed at just over $1 million, had offers coming in the low to mid 900s, and the seller just said, this is my retirement home. I am not selling it less for $995,000. 5 offers, not all at the same time, all came in at different times. They just sold it conditionally yesterday for the $995,000. So we'll see if that firms up. And I just talked to Tina, and she put me on the call because she was finalizing something. She said she had one deal where people bought it, then they thought, okay, well, if the market's going to decrease or if the market's going to change, we want a mutual release. And then the next day they came back with a firm offer. Same term, same price, and just said, oh, no, we do want to buy it. We do want to buy it. So there is still some uncertainty in the marketplace. But I think what you're finding is, and again, it gets back to that pendulum swinging depending on the news. You know, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we had CMHC say the market's going to go down by 18%, right? And so now you look at situations where there's multiple offers, you're getting preemptive offers, and you're going to get reports coming out today on exactly what the Toronto Real Estate Board is showing. And here's what I did this morning. I just did some stats to help everybody understand. Okay, so when we were going through all of this, April was down 67%, okay? Compared to the previous April a year ago, 67%.
In price or in listings, what was down 67%?
Sales, units sold.
Transactions. Okay.
Transactions, okay? And then when I did the first 2 weeks of May, we were down 62%, or about 60%. So we gained about 8-9%. So here are the stats right now. May 2019 to May 2020. May 2020 is off unit sales and activity, units sold, And this is the GPA for residential freeholds and condominiums. 49%. So you went from 67, roughly 60, to 49%. June, right now, so June from June 1st to June 16th, 2019 versus June 1st to June 16th, 2020. Where do you guys think our marketplace is right now?
It's about on par.
We're 25, we're doing 75% of the business. Okay, so we're only 25% of the business off in June right now. And if June can continue, I wouldn't be surprised at the end of June that we're going to be real close to being just maybe 10% off of where the June was last year. Now, when those numbers start coming out, based on the Toronto Real Estate Board, because I already saw one person post something, I think you're going to start seeing where consumer confidence is going to be, okay, wait a minute, then things have started to open up. The marketplace is not increasing in value. Activity is getting close to the bar. That's when we're going to start seeing that pendulum swing again. And once it gets some momentum, I think that's going to carry right through to the rest of the year. Yeah.
I think that what I've been dealing with, and I think I've heard some colleagues the same, that there's buyers out there after that CMHC report came out. They started making lowball offers, and my condo in Liberty Village, that's exactly what I got. Like, they came in, my place is over 1,000 square feet. They came in at the 550 square foot price. Like, it was not worth the sign back. And I think I told you, Scott, that I had the seller's initial the 801 saying that they were declining the offer.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want it to get hooked up for a while. So I talked to other agents that have listings in the area, and they were getting the same thing. There's people out there just throwing stupid offers in because they're hearing the news.
Right. Yeah. And we're going to get that. It all depends on the news, right? But once the stats start showing that the increasing activity is getting back to par, then all of a sudden it becomes confidence is back in the marketplace. And there still will be, depending on what news comes up, there still will be that influx of, okay, well, I'm going to put it in. If the seller's serious and really wants to sell, then, they'll look at this pricing. But at the same time, if your seller's in a position where it's like, no, I think I'm okay. And I think over the next, you got to make sure that you have your listing for a longer expiry date, or get them extended, because I think if you're in a seller's position and that's what they are, they're just going to wait to see. I think you can catch a little bit of a wave over the next 60 days. But you got to make sure you're explaining to them what's going on. So I thought I would share those with you, because those are stats today, right off the Toronto Real Estate Board, that did some evaluation and looked at some numbers. So I think you're going to start hearing about how May was better. June is now getting back to where the numbers are. So that, to me, is going to be the reason why you'll be out there communicating, because the ones that are thinking about waiting, the buyers, I think, are going to miss out. So what else has been going on out there? Anybody seeing anything?
I've got some buyers that are finally getting active, so that we're putting things off, trying to figure out what was going on with work. But one guy I'm going to be showing in the next couple days.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Now, the work security part, as they start going back, is where there may be a little bit of hesitation until they see that, okay, you know what? Here's my new position, and here's how the new company looks, and that they're still going to be in a position, one, to have income to be able to finance it. So, and so we are going to have sort of different things, but you're going to have to do lots of hand holding to make sure you get people through the transaction. In some cases, you're going to have to look at properties you've sold conditionally, and you might have to take 2 or 3 extra things to make sure you get through home inspections. Financing all of a sudden might take a little bit longer, especially if it's involving, mortgage insurance. So just even though people are back, there's still going to be some timeline.
I'm finding the patience of the selling realtors with taking financing conditions has increased. Like, used to be that they wanted clean deals, and now they're willing to wait for financing because they're worried that things could fall apart at the last minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
which is really nice, honestly.
Well, it's important for everybody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you've got a deal.
Exactly.
And that's the important part. And again, it's doing your due diligence, being patient with everything, with other agents, trying to get answers back from different people and things like that. But yeah, but the activity is definitely going to be there. The confidence in the marketplace is going to be coming back. So if you've had anybody sitting on the fence talking about, well, I think I'm going to wait, I do, when I send you the link, look at that Ontario Real Estate Survey, read through it. There's some charts there's some graphs you can put. And I think it'd be a good tool that you can post, do a little bit of a blog post or send out, put it part of your e-newsletter, because there is some good information there that will be different than what CMHC put out. All right. Any other business questions?
Yeah, Scott.
Yeah.
I just thought, as I explained earlier, I haven't been on a lot of the calls lately. I apologize for that. Business got in the way and a few other things. Any feedback from our staff or our agents on QuickPage?
On QuickPage, I can tell you that Anita Fleming did a deal directly
Through QuickPage, yeah?
Directly from QuickPage. She had a Realtor.ca inquiry come in. She sent the QuickPage information with a video talking about it. Does her virtual walkthroughs. Attached the floor plan, attached all the information, and based on that, and said, just like we've had some really good activity on it, and the person can come once they look through it all. She could tell that she was on the QuickPage for 6 minutes and 8 seconds, looking at everything, which is fairly long, and communicated right back with her. Got an appointment. She came out, looked at it, and bought it.
Okay. Could you, if you don't mind, send out Mike Crease's contact information? I found an old email form, and the number I have in my phone's not working. So I can't find anything online on him, even on his website, or he doesn't have a website, but on his email.
Yeah, no, I can send something out to the page.
Just a specific question for him, that was all.
And I know that Nancy and Robert are have a new townhouse project they're working on, and based on some online leads, first thing they're sending out is the QuickPage saying, hey, thanks for inquiring about the new townhouses. Here, attached is the brochure, attached is the price list. And the nice thing about it is you can see when that person actually opens it.
Yeah. No, it's a great tool. I mean, I've been playing with it, and I have great ideas for it. It just, when we list our properties now, I always do a URL and a dedicated website, or I don't always, but sometimes. So, there's more work involved in this because I'm setting up intro videos at the property now, getting some of the documents, site plans and things attached. But, you know, I do see strong use for it. I just wanted to make sure with Michael that we're able to create a generic folder that we can shoot out, and it sounds like we can. Because
You
any
can do a what?
video you watch, any video you watch on QuickPage, it always says, "Oh, dear Michelle, attached is this," and it doesn't show that you can set up separate folders. Like I want to do property folders, and
Okay.
I want to do a generic. I want to have a generic email in there that or QuickPage in there that I can send out to, generically or even as marketing. And I want to have something set up that when I go to a CMA, I can say, well, here's a property we just did, because they're always asking, how are you marketing now? So I want to be able to sit at the table or over the phone. I still sit at the table with them and, take their email and fire them the QuickPage, which, sort of cinches the deal for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you can definitely do something very generic because the pages are all there. So once you do a page, you can label it whatever you want. And then you can just go back to that page and send it to the new email address that you want to send it.
Right. Okay. So you just do a generic and okay. It's just I just wondered if there was some better file management on it, and I haven't set up a property yet. I'm working on it, so I'll determine it myself, I guess. But I really see an advantage for my CMAs with it.
Yeah.
And as you know, one of my projects is a gated community idea. So, I mean, I'm up against several agents these days, and I always get a CMA, just cinching it these days.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. No. And the other thing you may want to do is if you just go on to QuickPage, they actually have some great training that you can sign up for. And
yeah, I've looked at their videos. I find them very generic, but I haven't done any specific training. So
yeah, just join their Facebook group. If you join the QuickPage Facebook group, because they do lots of live training events on the Facebook group.
Okay. That's great.
Anything
I'll
else?
I'll give you an update.
Yeah, but I'll send you some information too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a really good tool.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is. Michael's been involved in, I can't remember what his other, 4 years ago, I used one of his video tools, but this one is the complete tool, in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll help us all out. It's just getting used to it. It's another facet of what we do, and just doing it right and getting better at it all the time. I mean, I set a URL up for every property, Scott. I mean, that's $16 per property anyway. So if you do 2 in a month, you've already paid for QuickPage, right?
Yeah. Yeah, reach out to Anita because maybe she could send you exactly what she did, but it got directly to a direct showing and a sale.
Good. That's nice to hear.
Anything else from anybody? Any questions? No? Well then, you know what? Again, I appreciate everybody being on here, and I will send out that information. If you get a chance and you haven't looked at the OREA survey, go through it. And I'll be able to give you some more stats next Wednesday when I look and see where we're going to be for June. But we're heading in the right direction for sure. So, all right, everybody take care. Great to see everybody. And as of Monday, don't forget all the hours are back to normal at the office. Okay?
Okay, Scott, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.